order of about 300 cows.
Really, yep.
Justine Young is not from around here. She's part of a group of policymakers, business people, and scientists who are visiting Vermont from New Zealand. They're here to learn how Vermont dairy farmers deal with issues of water quality both on and off the farm.
The other day it was raining hard. We had the 6 inches last week. I went down.
Wayne Fisk is from around here. He owns Windfall Acres in Highgate. Fisk is a leader in implementing conservation practices on his farm. Some of the larger projects, like this containment pond, were financed through federal cost-sharing programs with the Natural Resources Conservation Service. Young's interested in how this relationship works and who benefits.
In New Zealand, essentially, there's not much cost sharing. The whole reason that I'm interested in that is because in my work, we are designing policy to change people's behaviour to protect the water, and we're not offering cost sharing, we're regulating. But what we're doing and what I'm working on at the moment is finding out which practices are going to suit different farm contexts, and therefore how the policy might go through more smoothly.
Along with working with federal agencies, Fisk has developed a certified nutrient management plan through the University of Vermont Extension. The advantages of the interactions between a farmer and statewide or federal agencies are something Young is sure to bring back with her to New Zealand.
One of the interesting things is how the agencies work together and who gets involved and how they get involved and how people have their say. So that kind of whole process of designing the policy outcome and the changes that people want is of interest to me. Something that I think is really critical is the people who are making the change are the farmers. So I think that agencies have to understand problems and issues from the farm point of view. So it's a way of how do the agencies doing that? How are they working with the farmers?
One of the similarities John Quinn sees between Vermont and New Zealand is it pays to stay green.
A lot of the drivers for land water management in New Zealand come from the fact that most of the product we produce is traded internationally, and a lot of that is on the back of a clean green image that New Zealand has. In Vermont, people embrace that as part of their cultural identity and what they see as being Vermonters. And for New Zealanders, it's a similar thing. So how do we do that really? And how do we do that and still have productive systems where people can make money? Because, you know, in New Zealand, 50% of our export earnings are from the agricultural sector. So seeing the world through other people's eyes is always a useful way of reflecting on your own situation.
Yeah. But you're containing it.
Yeah, and you're not losing your resource.
Exactly.
Stay there.
Another stop on this tour was at the nearby Chouanier farm. Like many farmers, Guy Chouanier is an innovator.
Or I can, at least. It's my best soil.
From his loafing barn, where he creates compost, to his practice of using tillage radishes to improve drainage and add nutrients to his soil, Chouanier is a forerunner in management practices that get positive results.
We call them farmers as leaders.
Nick Edgar is the CEO of a nonprofit land care group in New Zealand. In Chouanier, Edgar recognizes a kindred spirit and someone who has a lot in common with dairy farmers in New Zealand.
They're dairying on the front foot. They're really taking a leadership role on determining the values of the ecosystems they want to protect, and therefore determining the choices in terms of their land management practices. They bring the scientists in, you know, they set the agenda to some degree about the technology and the issues they want resolved, and then they're obviously educating their families and their children, hopefully bringing a new generation through that will show leadership but also good stewardship of the land at the same time.
Like his fellow New Zealanders, Edgar believes agricultural issues and policies need to begin at the farm gate.
Farmers feel they have ownership of the issues, and again they've got that leadership component. They don't feel like they're being governed or forced to do things, that they're actually right there in the middle of it all and they're making decisions for themselves.
Self-reliance, leadership, and a love for the working landscape. Except for the accent, it sounds like Vermont and New Zealand have a lot in common.